Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to another episode of Funday Sunday, and finally taking a look at the newest operation that is available that came out with the inclusion of the light cruisers. And I know I'm a little late to the party. I've been busy with other stuff, but finally I'm going to take a look at it, and I really have to say I really do like this mode. I love this operation. I think it's very fun. I think it's easy. I am taking out the Charles Motel. I would have to say US and light cruisers are almost mandatory because especially early on, as you can see, we are spotted. And with having US and light cruisers, you can radar. So overall, the mode is not difficult. The objectives you could easily get as long as your team actually does their job. For the most part, I haven't had too big of an issue. Getting killed kind of takes work for you to actually, get focused down. Probably the most dangerous aspect of this map is going to be torps. There's a lot of destroyers, a lot of Shiratsus, there's Fubukis, and Akazukis even. So overall, it's not difficult, but it can be difficult to actually get killed. But I mean, as long as you're aware, and a lot of these ships, especially Cleveland's, have radar and hydro, that it's going to be difficult. Now the Charles Motel, I think, is a good option. It's a good complementary option for you to actually take rather than the Cleveland, because it does run 203mm guns. It's fast because one of the objective is, our secondary objective is save both transport ships, which we have just done, as you can see there, relatively easy. And another one is maintain the position of both regiments. There are two regiments on the eastern side of the map. As you can see, they are being bombarded by two Miyokos. And this is the good thing about the Charles Motel, is this long-range sniper. Its AP can actually citadel these Miyokos, so you can do relatively quick work on the enemy Miyokos, but it's not the only ships that are around. Now, another thing about this map and this mode is it's at night. So your detect is a little bit more limited. There you can see once we actually open up, we are detected, but once it goes back down, you can see our detect's actually around 8 kilometers, which is quite phenomenal. And as you can see, we're being currently being targeted by a couple of ships, which means there are destroyers around. Now, another aspect, as you may see, is these little circles, especially on the minimap, but also on right ahead of us and right there. The Japanese fleet releases off essentially these lights that basically allows enemy ships to see you, these illumination bombs. So you normally want to avoid those. If you're caught in them, you just are more easily detected. That's predominantly the most dangerous thing about it. So just have to be careful there. And as any French cruiser captain is aware of, well, you tend to lose your rudder quite rapidly. But fortunately, I'm not gonna really take a lot of damage for that, which is good. So the first aspect of this match, of this operation, is not very difficult. Now I have seen it fail because there are these two destroyers here, and then there's additional destroyers coming in from the north a little bit that's not seen at this time. And if they're not focused down, they can take down the regiments. And you do have to, generally, I believe they generally focus the 9th Regiment relatively quickly. So your main focus is going to be obviously defending this. So this first part of the mission is not very difficult, and that's the nice thing about the Charles Motel, is that she's quick. She can get over here and definitely focus down the enemy DDs that are starting to push in. So overall, not difficult. It can end in failure. Like I said, I have seen this happen, and I really enjoy these operations. They just add a different feel to the mode. Now, unfortunately, I'm a Charles Montel and fairly nimble enough that we actually managed to get away. But I would have to say, when you are so far into the game, you reach a point where it's no longer crucial for you to actually protect the regiments. That's usually when the carriers show up. As you can see on our minimap, we have 2 carriers and 2 destroyers coming into the mode right now. And this is when the second part of the mission actually begins, which I think is fun. It can be very chaotic at times, but generally what you want to now start doing is actually heading back towards the carrier and grouping up, because this next part is a little bit different, a little bit difficult at times, because it gets a little crazy. And like I said, having defensive fire is far better than having hydro, and that's why I'm writing defensive fire instead of hydro, because this next mission is going to be taking out enemy Air Force bases. Now, at this time, I really do like this. The time of day is starting to begin to change. It's no longer as dark as it used to be. It's actually really cool. You can still see the moon, so it's actually a nice little feature. I've never noticed that before. But heading back over to the Essex, the Essex actually offers repair, mobile repair bay. I believe it is throughout the second half of this battle sequence of this operation. And you can see at the very northern side are 2 areas that we need to focus on, and that is going to be the next aspect of this operation. Now, whatever you do, do not rush up there, because there are 3 cruisers you do not want to see, especially in a light cruiser such as the Cleveland, or well, technically the Charles Martel is not a light cruiser, but it has a little bit more lightly armored. There are a few cruisers we definitely don't want to see, but one nice thing about having these carriers is this fact that we're going to be able to spot. Now you can see the time of day has changed. It's no longer night. Now we can just begin focusing down these enemy destroyers, and then our detect does return to normal. So relatively quickly, these destroyers do go down. I will have to say the Fletchers aren't the most useful thing in the world. They tend to die relatively quickly. Probably what you really want to be focusing on is saving the carriers, because this next part is where it gets a little crazy. There are 2 Air Force bases that are going to be sending in Tier 7 torpedo bombers, torpedo planes, and you want cruisers that are good at shooting down planes, because the next secondary task that we have to complete is shoot down 50 planes. Now, unfortunately, I've seen teams actually destroy the Air Force bases before shooting all down the planes. Now, the very northern side, you can see there are 3 Zows. Those Zows will hurt you, and can focus you down relatively quickly, so do be careful of those 3 Zows. And the final task, besides obviously having warships stay alive on our team, is taking down the flagship Otago, which is right there. I don't think this task is particularly difficult. I think for the most part, every time I've played this mode, it's been relatively easy, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But once again, your Fletchers aren't the most useful destroyers around. I mean, they do have defensive AA, but they generally get taken out relatively quickly. So with that being said, let's actually talk about the different cruisers. I've been really focusing on the aspects of the mission, but now I can actually talk about the cruisers while we focus down the enemy ships. And there are going to be a lot of destroyers and a lot of cruisers of different tiers, so we're going to try to focus them down as quickly as possible. But the different cruisers, so for the most part, you have your allied cruisers, so French, I believe even the British cruisers, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have the Edinburgh. You will also have the Russian cruisers, Kutuzov, and not the Bajani, the Chayev. And then obviously the US and cruisers, the Baltimore and the Cleveland. The ones I have tried, the Cleveland, I would even assume Baltimore, it would be good. And the Kutuzov and probably even the Chapayev would be fine just as well, because they do have radar. They have either fast firing guns or they have nice long range. I believe the Edinburgh is gonna prove to be difficult. Don't think I've actually seen an Edinburgh in this match, in this mode, as of yet. As well as you probably do not want to take out the Kutuzov. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Charles Martel does fantastic because it's a long range support cruiser, which this is really good. This is what it's good at. But the Kutuzov, yeah, it's decent. It has good AA. I didn't find it overly that useful. It's good against destroyers, but that's just my thoughts on it when I played it. But really, in this match mode, it's fun. Like, I recommend it. I think World of Warships Wargaming needs to do more of this because it's tons of fun to play. I will have to say, I wish they'd offer more premium, but that's just me. It'd be nice to get more premium time for this. And look at the nice little torpedo dodge right there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to dodge this one. Nope. Unfortunately we're not, but we're doing well. We shut down all the planes. All that's left to do is the primary task, which is in fact just to focus down the aerodromes. Now the aerodromes are limited on number of planes available, so you can technically shoot them down and just begin focusing down the enemy ships. You do have a decent amount of time, about 8 minutes to do this. Now I did see one team that just seemed to focus down the enemy ships. That's all they did, and eventually I got tired of it and I just started focusing down the aerodromes. So at any time you can begin focusing down these aerodromes. They are a little bit secluded. They're a little tucked away into the mountains there, so you do have to be a little bit more centered just to get your shots to land. Like, for example, this northern aerodrome, as you can see, is well hidden there behind that island or that mountain there, so you'd have to be a little bit further back or a little more western just to get it. But decent amount of damage, 30,000 right there. Am I, in fact, nope. Okay, we're good as far as that, but like I said, for the most part, it's really good to see this type of mode, and Wargaming has been doing a really good job as far as making better and better operations. I'm looking forward to seeing them have it a little bit more difficult, even though at times it can be frustrating. And there is one operation I can think of that I completely despise, and that's the one where you have to defend your base from Japanese assault fleets. So not a big fan of that one, but for the most part, I am definitely looking forward to the hard mode. I'm curious how bad it's gonna be. It's like I said, this you can have really good teams, you can have really bad teams, and the AI, for what it's worth, it either tends to be brutal, focusing you down, or completely stupid. But here, this northern drone is going to go down. I believe HE is probably a better choice. I was testing out whether or not HE or AP would work, but HE, yes. Go with HE there. But that's pretty much it. As soon as this aerodrome is dead, that is going to be the end of the match. And as you can see, our team's not really focusing down the aerodrome. I'm actually the only one shooting at it. I'm just kind of tired of it. And there we go. Aerodrome's done. And that is essentially going to be it for this operation. Not a bad operation. So as you can see, there are 5 secondary objectives: destroy the enemy aircraft, destroy flagship Otago, save both transport ships Liberty, maintain the position, and save at least 4 ships of your team, which is not very difficult. And obviously the last objective is taking out the aerodromes, which not very difficult. Decent as far as making money. Like I said, it's a fun mode, and I really do enjoy it. If you haven't tried it, I don't know what you guys are doing, but you really should try it. Give Random or Clan Wars a break, or co-op. Give it a break. Have some fun with Operation. It's more fun, obviously, with division mates, with people you can rely on instead of just relying on randoms, because sometimes you get some questionable random players. But definitely, it's always more fun playing with other people. But anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.